Reg was the new Jimmy McGovern drama. Wrongly,
No,
Luke,
well-
you said last week that the last thing he did was Common. It was Banished, was his last thing.
That's true, actually.
But
And
Banished
also,
was an afternoon
It
thing.
wasn't Jimmy McGovern. It was Jimmy McGovern and Robert Pugh from Dr. Foster who wrote this.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
As it turned out.
So this was about Reg... I forgot.
Keys.
Whose son was died in Iraq, and it basically follows him realising that he went out with hardly any ammo, and that's when he got killed. And then, obviously, he learns that the war in Iraq was based on a lie, and he decides to run against Tony Blair in his home constituency. That was the basic premise, and it went across 90 minutes.
And true story.
Which was one of the problems I had with it, which I felt the story was far too stretched out over that 90 minutes.
The first half an hour was, and I'm sure they meant it deliberately, but slow and painful at times.
I have to say, when we talk about this, for people who may have watched it and been emotionally connected, we're not talking about the story the thing that happened in real life.
What I
we're
would
talking about it
say,
as a TV
in
drama.
sort of a broader sense, without going in too deep, I would say it is an important story. It needed to... But I don't know if it fits at the mould of a TV drama, certainly a 90-minute TV drama. I didn't find it as entertaining as I should have done for it to be a good TV drama, if you know. Do you know what I'm getting at?
Oh, yes, I have to say, I was almost, and this is going to sound awful, but again, I'm looking at it as a piece of storytelling in TV drama, almost bored from the word go. I thought Tim Roth, who was playing the real life...
I thought the
Reg
performances
Keys.
were brilliant.
No, I thought he was too... I wanted to wake him up and
No,
get him more alive.
I wouldn't criticise Tim Roth or any of the performers. I thought the performances were brilliant.
First of all, it is very weird seeing Tim Roth playing someone who is placid, and that's what the character of Reg Keys was. Although he was a man of action and did things, he was not one that got angry or over-emotional. He just dealt with things. And I think he did that very well, but of course it came off as a bit bland to start with. You're like, you've just lost your son, where's your emotion?
I just don't think they gave us enough exposition. We all knew that it was going to be, the son dying in Iraq, but they didn't give us... at no point was I emotionally connected to the story at any point.
I think the point of which I became interested was when he started saying, I'm going to stand in
I would
that was
agree
the
with
turning
you to an
point
extent,
in the show.
That sort of petered out. They tried to do this thing where he and the Ralph Brown character fell out after, the Anna Maxwell Martin character was hospitalised. There was that really cheesy line about, you're going to hate me halfway through the campaign.
Oh,
and
God.
Yeah,
that was... but I must say, though, the ending, the last speech did get me. It got me there. And I think we're sort of all of a sort of... agreement on this, then, I believe.
Yeah, sadly, instantly forgettable. I mean, that is not fair.
No, and I think the thing is that there was no, I'll call it McGovern magic. There was no signs of him being involved in it. This could have been written and done by anybody else, really.
It almost felt deliberate, because last week you said you thought this would be quite preachy. But it really
it had the potential to be, and it wasn't. It didn't have
but I don't know
any
if it was
fire
deliberately
about it
trying not to be.
I associate Jimmy's work with a lot of fire and passion, and this had it was pretty flat all the way through.
And I think the thing is it was very middle class.
I have to say, I had to pause it several times and come back to it. I could only...
I managed it in one going, but it was tough. I remember tweeting you two going, have you seen Reg yet? Because I was trying to say, gosh, this is hard work.
I didn't even like the colour palette of it. I found that annoying. It was very grey throughout, and it just...
Well, it was set in Wales, and then they went to Sedgefield. Sedgefield is a very grim northeastern town that the Prime Minister chose in order to have a safe seat,
Apart from the performances, I can't... It's just... And it wasn't bad, it was just sort of... On paper, it seems like a good story to... write a drama about, but when you've actually
of course we all know he wasn't successful. We know.
But then they set that thing up as did he come third so he could have spoken?
Yeah, I think
you don't know how far he came in the poll. We know he didn't win it, obviously.
But... Oh no, you do. He came. They did actually reveal he came only about 100 or so votes behind.
Luke's point is that we already
There was
knew
never a
that he
good
wouldn't
yeah.
win.
Oh, I see. Sorry.
But what I am saying is, when they set up the thing that you can only talk if you come third, that I thought maybe he came third because I didn't know who came second and third. Do you know what I mean? So that was
Fair
the
enough.
that was the sort of thing.
But I
set
think
up.
if you follow politics in this country, you know, in any way, shape, or form,
But
if you
Gary,
follow
this
it
happened
closely.
11,
Hold on. Let me finish
years
the
ago.
sentence.
You can't remember.
That was only a nipper in arms.
Finish the sentence before you attack me.
No.
If you follow politics closely, you will know that independent candidates struggle, and that they introduced the idea of having Martin Bell, who was the first high-profile independent, and he came third or fourth in his by-election where he stood on this kind of one issue, which is what this wasn't he? He wasn't saying the economy's rubbish or immigration or whatever. He was literally standing because of the Iraq war and his son dying. And I think if you follow politics at that time, you would know he didn't win even before the polls and what happened in it.
What I'm saying is, again, you know he didn't win. I said that, but I wouldn't know where he came from everywhere else with everyone else.
I would.
This goes on for a fair while, so I'm just going to save you the bother and whiz through it myself.
They set it up that he might beat the Conservative candidate because they had that scene earlier on where they asked him to sort of sit down and stuff like that. And I think you just said Martin Bell came third.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh my god!
New Blood was also on this week.
I haven't seen this, so I have to bow
Barry
down.
hasn't
You've
seen
seen
it.
it.
Bow
haven't you?
down.
I've seen this. It's on 9 o'clock as we record Thursday nights, but the first 3 are on iPlayer, and I couldn't give a flying toss.
Memories flood back to last summer around this sort of time when the BBC put on The Interceptor.
It does, rather, doesn't it? Yeah.
Were the first 3 of those online as well?
No, they weren't.
this is
In terms of the
I would say
quality of
this is
it.
a slight, like a mini step up from The Interceptor. Mainly because of the sort of quality of the sort of supporting act. Mark Addy, and I don't know what Anna Chancellor's doing in this. It's like,
She's getting paid.
yeah,
What she's doing in this.
I hope she's getting paid a lot. The basic premise is that there's 2 coppers. One's a PC and quickly becomes a detective with Mark Addy, and the other is sort of undercover at a pharmaceutical company, who we know from a sort of the first scene were involved in this odd testing in India, like drug testing that went wrong.
It's so terrible, this.
They were setting up that these 2 are going to be partners, probably from the second episode, but they already hate each other because one thinks the other one cheated in a triathlon.
I hated this so much.
I saw someone say on Twitter that you need to watch both episodes because it's a
Oh, don't
it's
play
a
that game.
2-part opener. You know, it's meant to be a 2-hour opener.
I struggled to do the first 20 minutes. I powered through for the sake of doing this
And
podcast.
as I said to you via email, Mark Bonner again is trying to be in everything.
Didn't even spot him. I don't know who this is for. They said they put it on.
It's another BBC summer drama, isn't it? That they've got this. They know all the football's on at the moment. They probably won't.
But why do they do these, summer dramas, and then make them 8 episodes? Why don't they make something good 8 episodes? Why couldn't have lined the YouTube been
I
8?
read one article that suggested that this was a real way of trying to get millennials.
That's the
Yes,
sort of
I read that.
demographic of young.
Yeah, because they're like both of them are sort of. I mean, one of them's Asian, the other one is Polish.
Yeah,
They are awful actors,
Yes.
both of them.
the idea behind this was to get millennials more invested in crime drama because the BBC
What a
seem
load
to
of
believe that crime drama is mostly a middle-aged or older person's.
Or New Trixie's.
Yeah, exactly.
I
No,
think the Interceptor surely was aimed at a similar demographic because that had a sort of young
Exactly, yeah,
protagonist.
but
It's awful. And again, Anthony Horowitz, not a terrible writer by any stretch of the imagination.
Has he written for telly before though? Because I know
Murder in Mind was a series I loved.
Sorry?
Murder in Mind was a series I
Don't know
loved years ago. It was a strand of all different murder stories. All sorts of people were in it. Rob Brydon was in one, Neil Morrissey was in one, Steve McFadden from EastEnders was in one. They were all separate murder stories. They were really gripping. Kevin Whately, John Thompson, loads of well-known faces in there. This was just horrendous.
But he also, I'm just looking now, he also created Collision and Injustice.
It was a mess, this. Didn't like it, won't watch it again. Move on, BBC.
I was, I had no intention, and then someone said, well, you've got to watch the second one, because it's sort of...
You haven't got to.
But I can see what's going to happen is that these two form a partnership, and they don't really, they sort of get on, but they've got issues with each other, because obviously he's going to try and make a move for his sister.
The new Scott and Bailey for the Millennials.
Oh, don't even.
I knew that would get you going.
The only two good things, Mark Addy and Alan Chancellor, both hopefully getting paid a lot of money for this. Power Monkeys, which was on last night, which is, as we mentioned last week, the new comedy from Guy Jenkin and Andy Hamilton, who did Strut the Dead Donkey, and last year did Ballot Monkeys, based around the... Well, it's sort of based around the referendum, but then they seem to have thought. They seem to have thought we had 4 groups last year, which was the 4 main parties. This year we've got in and out, and we need more of a flick between. So they've got people supporting Donald Trump, and they've got the Russians as well.
I enjoyed this, except it felt more like a sketch show than
Did you watch Ballot Monkeys, though?
Yeah.
You really have to know your news to get every joke. I have to admit, it was very fast, very topical, and I think some of the things went a little bit over people's heads, or it certainly went over mine a little bit.
My least favourite thing was the Jack D stuff. I enjoyed everything else, all the Jack D stuff was a bit dull.
I think Ballot Monkeys was a lot more focused and a lot more... These seem to be quite a few sort of cheap gags, as you said, at expense of people like Putin and Donald Trump.
It was written this week, so it also got the Noel Edmonds stuff in, which I loved.
I just felt that it was, as Luke said, the stuff with Jack D was probably... I mean, I like Andy Nyman as well. He's playing the same character he played in Ballot Monkeys, and the sort of dim girl from Ballot Monkeys, Ruby.
The thing that she's somebody's daughter, which is why she's...
I'll tell you who I liked in this as well. Amelia Bullmore, I thought, did a good job.
Yes.
The Donald Trump press secretary.
As a piece of comedy, I enjoyed bits of it. I think it just felt more like a sketch show than a.
I think Ballot Monkeys was better than this. I felt this was
Ballot
more...
Monkeys was more because each group had its own identity, but they were all working towards the
each
same
group's
thing.
got
Whereas you
its own
say
identity in this, Gary, but I would say the Trump and the Putin stuff felt to me like, we need something else.
Yeah,
who's an easy target? Who can we get a lot of comedy out of?
Whereas in Ballot Monkeys, all 4 sides were adversary. There was sniping at each point. In this one, there's not that. The Putin and the Trump thing is funny, but it's not the referendum. I know they referenced it in the Russian thing, but it's not what it's about.
My favourite gag was in the Russian thing, though, where it was something like, there was a storm in England. About what? No, it was just a storm.
There was a storm. I quite like the stuff about Noel Edmonds as well. I did like that. And I like the idea he had to get the phone in 3 rings. I thought that was quite funny as well.
Although I enjoyed it, it felt like a separate show to the stuff with Jack D and the stuff on the bus and the stuff. It didn't really melt together overly well.
Pick of the week.
We're not doing one next week, I think it's fair to say. So I will go with Goggle Sprogs, which is on Friday, the 17th of June. This is the proper series after a Christmas pilot of the young kids version of Gogglebox. I don't know whether this will have legs, but I enjoyed the pilot.
Well, I'll go on the back of that and go for the last leg. see what I did there.
Classic comedy.
Classic bands.
Can I pick something for you?
Yes.
The Good Wife continues, and we're getting near the end.
Okay, well, I was going to say, that was on the tip of my tongue, but I just wanted to be original and try and find... Actually, no, what about The Final Mum? That's on that Friday with Goggle Sports, isn't it? There you are. The Final Mum, it's New Year's Eve, and just watch Mum, because Mum's awesome.
Well, we've got to wait for that, then. Hey!
I just say, facebook.com/thecustardtv. We have had some new likes, but they're sort of incognito likes. So I don't know who... I can't do any shout-outs.
That's people who don't want a shout-out,
Are we being watched by the FBI? Is that what you're saying?
Also, can I say, I had the idea of taking a break this coming week. You'll understand why, based on our picks of the week. And then we're going to do a couple of podcasts. I don't know whether I've said this to Matt or not. We're going to do a couple of podcasts